This morning, we're spotlighting the mysterious death of a pastor's wife.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally. I'm seeing a psychiatrist every week. I'm on 900 milligrams of lithium.
There's no ants on you, though. Here's some water, JP. You want some water? You want to try to sit up? You want to try to sit up, or you want to put it to your mouth, or what?
Matthew 6:31 says, "Don't worry." Now, I just want to say that I was talking to some moron the other day, and they were. I didn't mean that. They're a good member of the church, and if you tithe, if you do the right thing, all these blessings will come upon you. If you won't do it, the voice of the Lord says, all these curses will come upon you. Take up your cross and die.
Hey everybody, I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy.
She was so brainwashed.
Dozens of people rallying outside a South Carolina's church calling for justice for Mica in the wake of Mica Miller's death.
I even tried to raise her from the dead one time this week, and I thought I raised her from the dead. She's alive, you know. I can't wait to see her again one day. She would write poetry, and I thought, what kind of woman, writes poetry?
There were definitely bruises on Mica's hands.
So today my heart's a little heavy. Abuse is abuse.
We spent every night together for hours just talking and talking and talking. I am the most humble man in all of the state of South Carolina. The past few weeks, the sermons have been averaging over 220,000 views on Facebook.
Hey, are all these people are watching us right now?
If you want the comments off, I can turn the comments off.
No, I don't mind at all. I don't mind the comments at all.
Today, I want to talk about the Mica Miller case. This case I've been watching, waiting, lurking, judging. What happened is that Mica Miller was found dead. The circumstances at first seemed like she took her own life. That is the official story. But then her family came out, started filing things in the courts saying that she said if she wound up with a bullet in her head, that her soon-to-be ex-husband JP, who's a pastor, is responsible. I just want to do what I usually do on my channel, which is I want to give you guys the facts, and then we'll discuss the theories, and then you can decide for yourself. This video is sponsored by Upside. Upside is a free app that gets you cash back on gas, groceries, and restaurants. So let's say it's a grocery store. You claim that store. It'll tell you how long you have before the offer expires. Sometimes it's a couple hours. Sometimes it's like 24 hours. And you use your debit or credit card at the location, and then you get cash back. Usually it's like about a day later, you'll get that cash back. And it's not like credits or rewards, it's actual cash that you can transfer to your bank account. For me personally, I find that the gas is really quick and easy way to get cash back. You just have to remember to click before and then go. It's just that easy. So for example, I used the Upside app the other day to get gas and I got like $2 cash back, and they have over 100,000 gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants on the app. Frequent Upside users actually earn an average of around $300 a month. So to find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description, download the app, it's free, and then you can also use my code Noor, N-O-O-R, and it'll get you an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. Or you can also scan the QR code that is here on the screen. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Thank you to Upside for supporting my channel, and back to the video. Bye. The whole thing really started when John Paul, aka JP, while he was preaching at the end of his sermon, he announced Mica's death.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm going to have you stand up, and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. Yeah, and it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come.
And this video went viral online, and that's what made people suspect him. So to put everything in context, we really need to go back to before JP and Mica actually met, because JP, who is a pastor, he was actually the son of a pastor too. His father, not only was he a pastor as well, but he also had scandals. He actually was head of the largest congregation of what's known as charismatic churches in South Carolina.
All growing up, my dad's here. All growing up, we weren't rich, but we were very wealthy. We had super nice houses, big mansion of a house when I was a child, and we moved here to Myrtle Beach. And my first car at 15 years old, my very first car was a brand new Mustang.
He had a Bible college and a morning TV show called Good Morning Jesus. But what happened to JP's dad is that everything kind of came crashing down. He actually had a sexual misconduct scandal. And then on top of that, he was convicted federally. Okay, he had federal charges of forcing international students at his school to work for little or no payment. When JP was giving his sermons, he would talk about his childhood, and he would say that his family put the funk in dysfunctional. Susan Miller, JP's mom, she ended up divorcing his dad, and the things she said when she divorced him were kind of shocking. JP's mom said that she found his dad in the bedroom with a man who had attended the Bible school. She said that he was a manipulator. Her husband, JP's dad, was a manipulator with a volatile temper. She said that he beat JP when he was 5 or 6 at the time with a leather belt at Disney World that left bloody stripes all over his legs. She said that when JP was a teenager, he and his father would get into fights that resulted in the police showing up, and that JP's dad would say, "Spare the rod, spoil the child," whenever she would try to confront him about what he was doing to their son. And she says that when Wayne, JP's dad, would be upset with her, he would go and say demeaning, humiliating things about her to the congregation. Now, interesting, because all of the things that I just said are things that JP himself is going to be accused of later on in life. But this is all stuff that he experienced with his father, according to his mom. In the year 2000, JP got married to his first wife, and her name is Allison. Now, the things that Allison has to say are shocking as well. Before starting this church, JP had some legal issues. Well, he had one particular thing that happened, which is that he was convicted of hitting a woman with his truck. JP continued to drive nearly 100 yards with this woman on the hood of his car before he stopped. According to him, she was harassing him. She jumped on the hood of the truck and she was trying to damage it and refused to get off. And he became a convicted felon because of this. We'll talk about later on how he was able to get rid of those charges, according to his wife, and why some people think that he's getting away with stuff now. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That happened before he started the church. He starts the church in 2006. Okay. 3 years after starting the church, Mica Miller, the person who this is all about, she joins the church. At this time, she is 15 years old, and she starts to be, friends with JP, although according to her, this is when she started being groomed, basically. When Mica joins the church in 2009, she's 15 years old and JP is 30. By the time she's 18 in 2012, Mica gets married to Jeremy, who's also in the church. And you know who married them? JP. Yes, JP married Mica and Jeremy. JP, remember, he's married to Allison. They have a bunch of kids. So Mica starts babysitting JP and Allison's kids. She also starts having an affair with JP. Well, guess what? He would end up being caught in the act in a sexual affair with Mica. And it's like this huge scandal in the church. So Allison finds out that essentially the babysitter who's in the church with them is having an affair with her husband, who's the pastor of the church. And it basically destroys everything, according to Allison. A lot of people left the church. They were upset. He was really freaking out. It's around this time that there's this alleged incident where he's on lithium and he's like freaking out. This got leaked very recently, like last month, but it's speculated that this freak out happened around this time, and we'll talk more about that later. People who were in the church at that time and ended up leaving, they said that they felt like JP was really manipulative. He was much older than Mica. He had her, quote, they say, wrapped around his little finger. So after Allison discovers this affair, she files for a divorce. JP really does not want her to say in the divorce papers that the reason for the divorce is adultery. He feels like this is going to ruin his reputation and his career in the church, and there's new people that come in. Like, he doesn't want that to be officially on record. So they end up coming up with this deal where he would pay her over $1,000 in alimony every month, plus over $1,000 in child support. I think it was $1,100 in alimony and $1,200 in child support. And in exchange for that, she wouldn't say the real reason why he was getting divorced. But he literally only paid this agreement payment one time, and then he stopped paying. And then he shows up to court in a wheelchair, and he said, quote, it says here, it says, bizarrely, he claimed he had fallen out of a tree and broken his legs while trying for reconciliation with Allison. He ended up appearing in court in a wheelchair, and then they made a temporary agreement where he would pay $900 a month in child support. And then he started to say that he doesn't feel like he should have to pay alimony at all because of an error on the divorce paperwork. And this is kind of when the situation and the agreement goes to shit, and Allison is going to say what really happened because he's not giving up his end of the bargain. Allison then says in court documents that not only did JP have an affair, but that he was having inappropriate sexual relationships with minors under 16, and that he had like an addiction to prostitutes, and that he confessed this to her. And he said to her, the reason why he has these immoral desires for minors is because his father, the pastor I told you about, Pastor Wayne Miller, that his father SA'd him as a kid. She did go to the victims and speak to them, and they gave her details of what happened, but they were afraid to come forward. She tried to go to police with what they said, and the police told her, listen, you're not going to get anywhere with this. If the victims aren't going to testify and you're in the middle of a divorce and now you make these accusations and he's a pastor, you're not going to go anywhere with it. Also in 2017, you have this secret wedding that happens between Mica and JP. And this is a really strange story. Mica's divorce attorney, or was her divorce attorney, she's now representing the family. And she says that Mica told her that they had this secret wedding. And the reason why they had it was because JP wanted Mica to get breast implants. He wanted her to get a boob job. And he told her that in order for him to be the caretaker and do all this stuff for her while she's recovering from the boob job, they would have to be married because he would have like more rights. So they end up having this secret wedding. She gets the boob job, and then she has this negative reaction to the anesthesia, which causes her to have some sort of emotional outburst, according to JP. And JP ends up hospitalizing her and isolating her from the family. And the family were like, this is the beginning of when he started to say she has mental issues. 2017, they have this ceremony in front of the church, and now Mica becomes the first lady of the church. JP is the pastor. Allison, the first wife, she's out of the picture, and they're like supposedly this perfect couple. And Mica is in the church, she's singing, doing different groups and projects, the women's group, this schools in Africa thing, and everything seems fine, except it's not. What's happening behind the scenes is that they have a very volatile relationship, because remember, their relationship started in an affair. JP had an affair, and that was the start of their relationship. Mica did too. There's issues of infidelity in the marriage where Mica is catching JP in these affairs, and they're getting upset, and she's threatening to leave, and it's like back and forth, and he's telling her she's crazy, and it's this whole thing. There is this incident that happens at the end of 2022 around November, where there's some sort of infidelity that happens that JP does, and Mica is upset about it, and so she leaves and she goes to stay with her family at her sister's. Then there are these text messages that her sister released. So here, it starts in November 16, 2022, 9:30 p.m. This is from JP to Sierra, Mica's sister. He says, "Can you please have Mica call me or Charlotte?" And then 8 minutes later, he says, "I'm on the way to your house. Be there at 12:55. She responds and she goes, "We don't want any drama here. That was the pretense of Mica coming for a visit, that it is just Mica alone." He goes, 3 hours away. She says, "Matthew will not let you inside. We aren't doing none of that tonight." He said, "That's fine. You can call the cops." She says, "Our dog can barely handle visitors as it is, let alone anything drama." He says, "I'm armed. I'm ready." I don't know. Is he going to kill the dog? I'm confused. She goes, "Armed?" He responds, "Mica can fix all of this." She goes, "This doesn't help anything. Threats and intimidation only make matters worse." He says, "I don't care. Driving, can't text, thanks." So she sends him this message basically being like, "If you come here, cops will be here. Stay home. Like, you can't make a threat saying you're armed and you're coming to my home in the middle of the night." And he goes, "Fine by me. Ha ha ha. I don't care." Like, basically saying, this all started because of one bad decision a month ago in Colombia. If I could turn back time, I would. We had the greatest marriage. I made one wrong choice. I can continue down that path, or we can have an amazing marriage once again. Choice is yours. Love you. Come home today. We take the rest of the year off, go to counseling, go to Iceland, whatever. I desperately want a child with you. I'm scared. This is the only reason I wouldn't. I'm scared of divorce, because putting the child through things when you leave and aren't willing to do whatever it takes. Apparently he shows up, it becomes this whole thing. They call the cops, and the next day he responds and says basically at 1:11 a.m., okay, he goes, "Fucking bitch tried to get me arrested. Every single piece of everything Mica owns or has any part of is in the back of my truck. Ask her where she wants it." Two options. One, on the outskirts of your property. Two, or on the trash or Goodwill. There's nothing left inside of the house that has any attachment to her. 20 large garbage bags full, and she can choose where she wants it if she calls me. If it's not at your place, it's gone. Okay, he sends this at 1:11 in the morning the next day, and then like 7 hours later at 8 a.m., totally different tune. He's like, "If she comes home today, tell her I'm sorry. So sorry. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm sorry to you and Matt." Then the sister responds to the long thing, basically giving advice and explaining what happened, and you guys can read it. It's like very long, several pages. And he responds being like, biblically, when your spouse needs you, nothing else comes before that. And he's like, "Thank you for being kind in spite of my craziness. Show her the text." They talk about blocking, unblocking. And he's telling her about this vacation that's paid for, and tell her like to come back. We'll go on this vacation. He does this little pity party thing at the end. "You win. I'll allow you to destroy me, continue to hurt me. Like, I beg for you to come back. You'll never find another man who loves you enough to do whatever it takes after you treat him the way you treated me." He's like asking her, are you showing her these messages? That happens. Okay. And it seems like they get back together, but it's still rocky, because a year later, and the fall of 2023, again, their relationship is in a really bad spot, and they're going to separate. And Mica wants to file for divorce. She files for separation in September, and then in October, she files for divorce. While this is going on, according to members of the church, JP confesses that His marriage was not in a good place, and he ended up having an affair with the daughter of one of the church members and sending immoral, ungodly messages and doing messed up things, and that he's trying to get better and repent and get treatment. Meanwhile, Mica is confiding to friends of hers that used to be in the church that left after they saw things they didn't like about JP. And so she tells them, she's like, he basically forces me to sleep with him like 3 to 5 times a day. And at night, if I'm tired and I don't want to have sex with him, he will blast loud music in my ear and like drip water on her while she's sleeping. That he started telling her she had to take testosterone to increase her sex drive. I'll read you what this says because this is really weird. It's hard. I'm just going to read the quote. It says, he also allegedly began engaging in other methods of sexual gratification, methods which dehumanized Mica. Several of these methods, which can only be described as humiliating to his reserved wife, allegedly involved animals, homeless men, and sex toys. Mica's friends were like, as shocked as we were, it wasn't hard to believe because even in front of us, he would talk down to her so much and just like tell her to shut up.
If he didn't like what she had to say, or even just a comment that she made, even if it wasn't directed towards him, he would stop her. He would make her be quiet, and the light would go out of her eyes, and she would keep quiet for the rest of the time.
When Mica files for divorce in October of 2023, she says it's for adultery, which, remember, this is something that JP really doesn't want. It messes up his whole entire image. Not only does she say adultery, but she accuses him of locking her out of the home, threatening to throw her stuff out, basically abusing her sexually, spiritually, mentally, financially, all of it. That he demeans her in the congregation. Same month that Mica files for divorce, JP does this sermon where he talks about how he's like not doing well and he's taking like all this lithium.
For the past 4 weeks, I've had the most horrible battle and horrible time of my entire life. I'm seeing a psychiatrist every week. I'm on 900 milligrams of lithium. I'm seeing a counselor every week. I'm going to inner healing. I'm going to deliverance 3 times a week with pastors in the area. I'm so depressed. I want to die. I'm battling suicidal thoughts. I have unforgiveness, hatred, demons coming out of me. I'm in such a bad place. I spent my Friday night at Kelly's house with women over 50 years old watching them play bunco. That's how horrible I'm doing.
Although JP is telling everyone like publicly, even now, that Mica has this major mental illness and talks about taking her life and has to be on lithium, it's actually him that is doing that. They say he projects a lot. A month after this, November 2023, Mica's sister calls 911.
He said he's texting her, threatening that he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, he said my blood is going to be on your hands. But prior to that, he was threatening to come in here, and he said, "Call the cops. I don't care. I'm armed and ready."
Mica's sister calls 911 because of text messages that JP sent Mica, where it sounds like he is threatening to end his life. Okay, I'll show you the screenshot. He tells her, "My blood is on you, and my kids will know. I couldn't take it without you. All you had to do was come home to me, but you wouldn't do it. I'm done. All you had to do was love me enough to drive home to me, but you don't even care that much about me. I love you. I'm sorry. Tell Sierra I'm sorry." He's saying he has mental illness and he has to be on this heavy medication. He's threatening to take his own life. But yet he's saying that Mica is doing all these things. So maybe both of them are doing it. I don't know. But now it is a couple months later. It's February 2024, a few months after this incident in November, and a few months before Mica is going to end up dead. February 8th, she gets admitted into the mental health facility for 48 hours involuntarily. When she gets out on the 10th, she can't find her car at this Walmart parking lot, her purse, all this stuff. The facility people are like, your husband took it. 2 days after she gets out of this facility, she withdraws the divorce on the 12th. On the 13th, the divorce filing is dismissed, and the reason is that they're going to try to reconcile. There's also a post-nuptial agreement that is signed in February that states that the funds and the accounts to do with this charity in Africa to start a school is all in Mica's name, and this is going to factor in later. On February 21st, we have Mica filing a police report where she says that she was fraudulently committed to this hospital and her husband stole her stuff, took her login information, her car, her phone, and that he's been grooming her since she was 10. And then there's all this confusion that happens about this 10 thing because they met in 2009, according to JP himself, when she was 15 and he was 30. That's when she joined the church. So her family, they think that she meant to say that he's been grooming her since 2010, not since she was 10, because that actually makes sense with the timeline. But in any case, she says that in the police report. Police then go and talk to JP like, these allegations have been made, and he says to them, listen, my wife, she has like major mental health problems and she has these episodes, and she was going through an episode, which is why I had to put her in the hospital. And the reason why I took the car is because when she has these episodes, she makes rash decisions, like she's going to sell the car and do all this. And so I just needed to get things away from her until she sort of calmed down from this episode. And that's it. And the grooming thing, it's nonsense and blah, blah, blah. So because they were still married and the car was marital property, they couldn't say that he stole the car. And so nothing really came from that. Mica then moves in with a friend. Her dad helps her get another car. She's trying to get back on track from all of this. And then 2 days after she filed that report, JP then files for separation from her. That same day, there's this incident that seems to have happened where JP met this waitress and there's a receipt with his name on it and his phone number and a smiley face. And then, according to the waitress, they were exchanging text messages where he was basically asking her to send him bikini pictures. So here, text messages, he's saying he wants a bikini picture of her. She says she doesn't have any. He says, come on. Okay, no bikini. And then she's like, no, I think most of the time when I'm in a swimsuit, I'm in a mermaid tail. And then he's asking if she's getting his pics. And then he's like, well, do you have one with just a mermaid tail? And she's like, no, I don't think so. He's like, well, give me something. I'm trying to send stuff. And then she sends a picture and he says, wow, you're super hot. And she asks him what he does. He's like, well, she's like, well, LOL. And he's like, I'm a senior pastor of Solid Rock at Market Common, and I'm headmaster and founder of Faith First Academy. I'm going through a divorce due to my son, soon to be, ex-wife is bipolar and schizophrenic and left town after she got out of the mental hospital for the 7th time. Sad face. I'm also an owner of Crocodile Rocks at Broadway at the Beach. Smiley face. Then he sends a link to a Facebook video of him preaching. Pastor to the Palace, number 6, don't be jealous, is the name of the sermon. JP also does this sermon where he shows text messages from Mica's phone, because remember, he has her stuff, her phone and stuff.
My wife went in the hospital. I looked at her phone and I counted over the past 2 years, 18 people who had texted her and said, if you ever want to talk about your husband, you can talk to me and say anything and I'll keep it confidential. Why the heck does somebody want to hear what somebody else says about their spouse? And 2 of those 18 were men. If someone wants to call you and say bad things about somebody else, that's a demon talking to you. And the only way to respond is with the word of God. This is the worst sermon I've ever preached my whole life. God is so good to do that every single time. That was wrong. I told you I shouldn't be here today. I shouldn't be here today.
Kind of making her look bad in front of the congregation. Now we're at the beginning of March, and there's this other incident that happens. And this is when Mica ends up filing a police report because her tires are slashed. She tells the cops that she's driving, she hears this popping sound, there's this metal thing in her tire, and that this happened before already. And the officer looks at it and he sees that it is this device you can buy online that is designed to flatten a tire, deflate the tire basically. She says that she thinks it's JP, that he's been acting weird and she feels like he's following her or watching her. And the police said that there's not enough information for them to really do anything about it. And so that's it. Mica then goes to Honda dealership so that she can get the tire fixed. Well, guess what? She gets confronted by JP, who happens to know where she is. She pulls out her phone to film him.
Walk away.
I'll show you the pictures.
Do you want to go to jail?
They'll be on Facebook in a few hours.
Alrighty, you'll be in jail in a few hours. Walk away.
She then ends up calling the cops again to tell them that this happened. She gets a phone call from a no caller ID number. And the cop is there. This is in the police report. She picks up the phone and it's him. So she tells the officer, like, look, he's calling me. So the officer takes the phone and speaks to JP. The officer said that the suspect was advised that the victim does not want any further contact, and if he proceeds, then warrants may possibly be written up. The officer also writes in the report that the victim advised me that she was afraid for her life. She also advised that she blocks his numbers and still gets calls and texts from him on other numbers. So the officer left, okay? While the mechanics are working on Mica's car to fix the tire, they discover that there's a tracking device on the car, and they tell her that. They show her the tracking device. Mica then calls the cops again, and she's like, guess what? They just found this tracking device. Now I know how he popped up on me right now. My tires were slashed. Like, I'm going to file a restraining order. And so the officer says, okay, do you have the tracking device? Can I take the tracking device? Because she wants to file a report about this, of what's happening. So they agree to meet at the courthouse, she and the officer, so that he could get the GPS tracking device, and she's going to file the restraining order. Well, guess what happens when they get there? This is what the officer says. It says, while I was standing out front of the magistrate's office with the victim, a white in color Honda Accord slow rolled down Scipio Lane in front of the magistrate's office. Miller said the suspect was driving her car. The vehicle sped up and drove off. The report ends and no charges were filed. That's on the 11th of March. 2 days later, JP files a police report against Mica, accusing her of stealing money from the Africa Fund, which, remember, I mentioned to you earlier, there was a post-nuptial agreement, so financial agreement after they're married, where he gives her access to those accounts. But he's now in this police report saying that she stole that money. And this is 2 days after she filed a report. So it seems like retaliation, allegedly, I don't know. But nothing comes from that either, because the police were able to prove that she had documents that made her believe that she was allowed to take that money. 5 days after that, remember, this is a month before she's found dead. 5 days after that, Mica posts a video on Facebook.
Hey, everybody. I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy. My heart and my prayer is that the church would stay strong, that y'all would stick together, because the church is God's people. It's not a man, it's not a person. When your world is shook up, you need to take a pause. I'm trying to get my priorities straight right now. And that's making sure that my heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment.
4 days after this video, she posts another video on Facebook. And this one, she is talking about abuse and divorce. And she looks kind of distraught. She's talking about being made to take drugs against your will.
So today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse. I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, abuse is abuse. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs or alcohol abuse or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault or you're a bad mom. You're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
2 days after this video that she made, she finds another tracking device on her car. Okay. She then files a police report 2 days later on the 26th. The 26th of March is also the hearing for the restraining order. Okay. According to her family, she got a restraining order on him. April 8th, 2024, Mica files another police report on JP. This time it's because he posted her nudes. So I want to read you the from the police report. Okay, it says responding officer met with the complainant who advised her soon-to-be ex-husband posted a nude photo of her on a Facebook page called Big Boobs and Nice Curves and tagged her old Facebook account that he has access to. The complainant further advised he is the only person she has ever sent that type of photo to, and the photo that was posted was one she sent him 6 months ago. Complainant was able to show responding officer the photo in question. Although the complainant's breasts are exposed, the nipple is blurred out, not meeting SC code for of law for nudity. Furthermore, the post of the complainant on the big boobs and nice curves was posted anomalously. Okay, I think JP, or whoever posted it anomalously. The complainant was further advised that once a photo is sent, the person who the photo was sent to is now the owner of the photo, and there is no way to actually prove he was the one who actually posted the photo. Turns out JP did admit to posting the nudes, though. He sent this email to Mica where he says, I'm sorry for putting a picture of you on the internet. It was for less than 1 hour and immediately taken down. I was hurt that you are telling everyone horrible, intimate details of my past sin, and I just wanted to try and hurt you. Please forgive me. It was evil of me to do that. A week after this, Mica finds another tracker on her car. So at this point, I'm losing track. She had 1 in March, 3, I think we're at 4 now, or 3 trackers. And this is when she again files a police report. But because they're still technically married, she is told by the officer that this is community property. Like, he can put a tracker on the car if he wants to. So there's nothing really we can do. So the next day she files for divorce. There's also an email that is sent around this time from JP to Mica, basically apologizing for doing that. He says that when someone hurts me, I try to hurt them back rather than forgive. Instead of me forgiving you, I just attack and try to cause pain, and that he was mad that she put her family before him, and that made him want to hurt her. So 15th of April, she finds the tracking device for the 3rd time. 16th, she files for divorce. April 25th, JP is served with the divorce papers. There's proof of service. It happened that day. 2 days later is when Mica is found dead. So now we need to go through the timeline because this is the crucial part of everything. So he served on the 25th. On the 26th, he supposedly leaves the Myrtle Beach area and he goes to Charleston. He goes with a girl, a romantic interest that he has, according to police. And there are witnesses there who say they see him there. His vehicle is seen leaving the area, and he spends the night in Charleston. The next morning, which is the 27th, this is the day that Mica dies. You can see at 10:13 a.m., Mica leaves her home. She comes back at 11 a.m. on the Ring camera. She then leaves again at 11:38 a.m. See her on the Ring camera. At 12:12 p.m., she's seen on store surveillance going into Dick's Pawn Shop in Myrtle Beach, where she is seen purchasing a firearm. It's a 9mm Sig Sauer, and she buys ammunition as well. She leaves there at 12:34. At 1:06 p.m., she is on the freeway. At 1:27 p.m., security footage shows her entering 41 Grocery and Grill in Mullins, and she has a map route that is going to take her to the Lumber River State Park. And according to police, when they searched her phone, she searched National Park near me, and Lumber River was the closest one. According to the gas station owner, they say that she got a drink, came outside, used the restroom, got her gas, and left. They said that she was acting regular, nothing concerning about it at all. At 2:22 p.m., you see JP's truck coming back to Myrtle Beach from the Charleston area. The vehicle's tinted, but according to police, there were people in the car with him and he wasn't alone, and he came back. 30 minutes after this is when Mica calls 911, and it's that infamous call where she basically says she's going to kill herself.
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
You don't know where you're at?
And National Park,
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff. I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing, hold on one second. I don't think you are in Robeson County. Yeah, the Lumber River State Park. And
Yeah, that's where I am.
tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
According to Mica's attorney, Regina Ward, she believes that Mica may have been under the influence when she made that call, because she said that the way she sounded was totally different, like she sounded sedated, drugged, and that she already knew that there was this history of JP giving Mica lithium.
When you're mentally ill, it's the one sickness you have that you don't know you're sick. And you have to trust people around you because you're saying, no, they're lying to me. They're telling me I need medicine. I don't need medicine, because the thing that's sick is your mind. And your mind is what you need to realize that you're sick.
Forcing her to take testosterone, allegedly. There's even Mica in the Facebook thing talking about being told to take drugs.
Whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs.
And so she wonders if Mica was somehow given something and wasn't really in the right frame of mind when she made that call. The call was made at 2:54 p.m. After she hangs up, dispatch sends police over there. There's drones, cops, everything. They're trying to find her in her vehicle. And while they're looking for her, this person comes who's at the park. And it is a man who says that he found a bag with Mica's ID in it, and that he heard someone crying, and then he heard a gunshot. And that's when he found Mica's stuff.
If it would have been a person out there crying in the opening where I could see them, I'd have checked on them all day long. But yes, I mean, I just wished I could have went in there and checked on them.
They have Mica's stuff, but they still can't find Mica or the firearm. At 4:30, they get a call from someone who says they were kayaking and they found a body, and it's Mica's body. At 7:11, the gun that was used that killed Mica was found in the water. The next day, which is April 28th, is when JP announces his wife, soon to be ex-wife's death to his congregation. That's the video that goes viral and starts everything.
And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give. Y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come.
The suspicions were immediate because, according to Mica's friend, she said that Mica was confiding in her and basically telling her that she was afraid for her life. So this is the quote, okay? It says that one of her closest friends recalled a haunting conversation with Mica in the midst of her final attempt to escape her marriage. My husband's gonna try to find me, Mica said during the late night call, according to her friend. He's gonna say I killed myself, telling the whole church, every sermon, every opportunity he gets to tell the church that I have a mental illness. You know, he's threatened me with a gun before, and he told me I will never leave him. He's never gonna let me go. There's no way. He said it to me. He said, there's nowhere you can go that I can't find you. She said, I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared. I think I know too much, and that's why he wants to keep me quiet. That's why he wants to shut me up. They say that when it came time to see Mica's body, JP basically wouldn't let them see her body unless they signed off on a cremation.
John Paul stating that our parents had to sign the cremation order before we were allowed to see her, it just raises a lot of red flags for us.
So that there would be no autopsy. And then the sister says that when she saw the body, she saw that there were bruises.
There were definitely bruises on Mica's hands. There's no chance of body bruising after the heart stops.
Documents, emails, things that Mica was keeping track of for the divorce, that was all gone. According to JP, he ended up doing this live interview with a content creator called Justin on TikTok.
Hey, are all these people are watching us right now?
He's got way more people.
Yeah,
watching.
and if
He's
you
got,
want, if
well,
you
how
want
many
the
people
comments
watching?
off, if you want the comments
No, leave
off,
the
I can
comments.
turn the
I don't
comments off.
care. No, I don't mind at all. I don't mind the comments at all.
How many people are watching your live?
I think 50,
How many people are
5,400.
watching?
5,400, and I would imagine with your face here, it's probably going to go up exponentially.
Are you a crime person, or are you you just
Gotcha.
you know, like what is your passion for this?
Gotcha. So my platform is true crime and current events. There is some narcissistic, toxic family stuff, which is how the platform started. I've also written 2 children's books over that.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great.
He explained that he wanted the autopsy, but they didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah. Why did you have her cremated? Someone said. I did that because that's what she wanted. We talked a lot about what would happen if one of us passed, and that's something Mica wanted and something I want as well, because we don't believe that the body matters as believers.
Why no autopsy?
I asked for an autopsy when I was there Sunday, and I asked I either asked the head nurse or asked the medical examiner, somebody, and they just brushed me off and said, "There's no need." But then I said, "Well, what about finding out if she was on medicine, or what kind of medicine, or if she was pregnant, or anything like that?" And they said, "You need a toxicology report." I said, "Okay, well, I want that." So they said yes. So a toxicology report was ordered. I did every single thing a human being could do, and far more, to try to keep her alive and keep her safe and keep her healthy. I was the only one.
You have this May 1st incident where it's just like 3 days after Mica died, and JP is out with a woman and he's seen laughing, and people looked into who she was, and they're saying that she's dating him and they're dating, and then she was saying that they weren't, but then the ex-wife filed something recently where she was saying that they're romantically involved and that her husband suspiciously died 2 weeks after confronting them about their affair, that like their kids played soccer together and they were having literally this affair, and she thinks it's weird that they're together and both of their spouses are dead. So it says here, JP began spending time with his now paramour, Susie, who is the mother of one of the boys that plays on our son's soccer team. JP began using our son to facilitate time so he could spend with Susie, which our children were well aware of. Their friends talked about it, and it caused them a tremendous amount of embarrassment. When I learned JP was exposing our children to yet another one of his adulterous affairs, I confronted JP and Susie and told them not to let it happen again. JP called me the day Susie's husband died in an alleged drowning accident, extremely upset, and asked me to pray, which was incredibly bizarre. Based upon information and belief, just 2 weeks prior to this incident, Susie's husband had confronted JP and asked him to leave his wife and children alone. It is chilling to know that the spouses of both Susie and JP are now dead from tragic events. On May 10th, okay, there's this explosive Facebook post from an ex-follower or church member. This video of JP like freaking out.
JP, you all right, man? You okay? What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter?
Switch medication makes me go crazy.
Oh. Somebody helping you?
It's that big parts company to me.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was going to see Jesus.
Okay.
Somebody called over there.
Okay.
I feel like ants are biting me. I can't
So,
because ants bite me everywhere.
is your medication something they gave you?
Yeah, I'm a drug.
Yeah. Can you want me to make sure Mark's coming? But somebody's called him, right?
Yeah, the lady across the street called.
Okay. All right. Do I need to call 911? Do I need to call the medics? Hey, JP. I think Mark is coming. I had him try to get in touch with him again to make sure. Is that okay?
You know the ants.
Huh?
The ants fight me. There's ants all over me.
Feels like there's ants on you? There's no ants on you, though. It's just, maybe that's how you feel, but there's none on you. What kind of medicine do they have you on? All right, well, somebody's going to come, okay? I don't know. I think they changed his medication or something, he said. And he feels like ants was crawling on him and stuff.
Allegedly, they're saying around 2015 time when he was caught in that affair with Mica. Okay, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was released on May 10th on Facebook with a scathing caption or post, whatever you want to call it, that I need to read to you because it is insane. Okay, so Ty Longerbeam posted this May 10th, but the person who actually signs it at the bottom is Kyler Marlowe. Okay. I'm going to read you the post and I'll show you the video. The video is insane. Okay, it says here, I believe this saying goes, getting a taste of your own medicine. And I mean that quite literally. You have used and abused for way too long, only to get up on that pulpit and consistently discredit your victims by airing out intentional, degrading, inappropriate personal information. Doing that allows you to control the narrative. Now we have the death of your wife that you claim you only took her life because of mental illness. Fact is, nobody was ever mental until they met you. You are the common denominator in all of this. This video is only proof that you yourself have issues and you know what medication can do to someone. Imagine being in a vulnerable state like this and being met with control, manipulation, and shame. What's the long-term effect on that? Now add abuse on top of that. All forms that may apply. Who can handle that? Yet you are met with a soft tone and a water bottle that you didn't deserve. JP, I could have done this anonymously, but I want you to see it's coming from me so you don't go after anyone else. You know I've got receipts and you know I'm not scared. I've never met anyone like you, but what I have learned and been taught is people like you repeat their behavior and every so often they slip up and show you who they really are. Sometimes they even type it in an email. I think it's abundantly clear that you haven't been held accountable for any of your actions over the years, and I never hit the recycling bin. Ooh, damn. Solid rock. Let me introduce you to your pastor. You don't see this version on Sundays. This is the guy you allow to give you and your family counsel. This is the guy you give permission to speak into your life, the guy you share personal, vulnerable information with that he will use against you when and if you question him. It's time to really take a step back and evaluate what's going on. JP, you are a complete shit stain to all of the other pastors that truly desire to lead people to the Lord. You are a liability to the Christian faith and to anyone that you set your eyes on. The reason why most people didn't speak up the first time is because they know your reaction is ruthless. You have a little bit of local power with enough financial resources to hurt people legally, and they fear putting their family at risk. And the few others that don't speak up believe it's not the Christian thing to do. Well, neither is doing nothing. I also believe Jesus flipped over some tables. So here we go. You've already had the chance the first time around, quote, for a time of healing, counseling, guidance pursuant to our governing instrument, end quote. Second time your reverend had to give that same PR speech to a church body. Yet you choose to smack every former member in the face that would have supported you if you got the help you need. So please don't mistake this video as a broken man who misses his family. This is a twisted individual using one of his many tactics to manipulate his way back into control. But his target didn't let that happen. She kept her foot down and you changed gears and got nasty. Over the years, his ways to manipulate have only gotten more effective with precision. To the ones who are the reason I'm involved, I won't name. I hope you understand why I had to do this. Enough is enough. Some want to raise awareness and most want justice. Godspeed, JP. If you know, you know. Internet, do your thing. Kyler Marlowe, Mica Miller, Justice for Mica, and many others. So, it's like, I know it's not funny, but I also did laugh. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like maybe I'm a bad person for that. I don't know, but I couldn't. Also, it kind of reminded me. Maybe I'm delirious from how much footage I've watched, but it reminded me of that TikTok that's like fever, fever. You know the one, the little green fluffy.
Here's some water, JP. You want some water?
There we go. The drinking that fever.
You want to try to sit up? You want to try to sit up, or you want to be put it to your mouth, or what?
Here you go, fever. You're drinking the juice. You're drinking fever. Oh no, fever.
Is that enough? You want more? If Mark can't make it quick, you want me to get your mom over here?
No, I don't want my mom anywhere in the church.
Yes.
What happened to Flounder? What happened? Who's down here?
Moving on. The day after this sushi thing where they're laughing, JP does an interview with media where he's crying.
She was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for. She was incredibly affirming. We spent every night together for hours just talking and talking and talking.
People noticed that he's wearing this necklace that was the same necklace that Mica was wearing, and he addressed this when he did that live with Justin on TikTok.
She passed away on the Saturday, and then Sunday when I went and saw her, they handed me some stuff, and that was one of the things they handed me. And that necklace was, for some reason, she's heard a story. Mica was very she could hear something or see a commercial and then immediately want to act on it. And so she heard about these lab diamonds last year. And so even though she loved her wedding engagement band, she wanted the real diamond taken out of that. And she wanted a lab diamond put in, but she didn't want to get rid of that diamond. So she wanted to put it inside of a necklace. And so had it made into a necklace for her. He was wearing that, and the nurse gave me that on that Sunday. And so before I even left the hospital, I already had it on.
Okay.
I just had not taken it off. And actually, I'd forgotten it was on the next day or two or whenever the interview was. But yeah, it's a girl necklace, so I just wanted to feel close to her, so I wore it when they gave it to me.
Some people are speculating. They're like, oh, this it's not just that he wanted to wear it, it's the trophy, like that he's, allegedly this killer and it's just a trophy, like serial killer shit, allegedly. The day after he does this interview is when Mica's sister Sierra files this affidavit where she wants to get control of things like her phone and all the things that have very important information on what could have happened, which are currently in the possession of police and would go to JP if she doesn't intervene and file and say, I think it should go to me and we should control it, because she said that she's aware of all this abuse that's been going on and that Mica explicitly said to her, if I wind up with a bullet in my head, it's not me, it's JP. The judge agrees. JP comes out, of course, and denies the allegations and, reiterates like that she was really mentally ill and he tried and he couldn't and all of this. May 5th, which is when there were 2 memorials for Mica. Her family did one by the beach and then JP did one with his church.
I've been speaking for many years, and for the first time, I don't really know exactly, how to open or how to close or any of that. Lay next to her body and spend time with her body about 4 times this week, and each time it still didn't hit me. I thought she was going to wake up. I even tried to raise her from the dead one time this week, and that morning, actually, I went to the mall later. She had bought me this dog tag, and the chain broke, so I went to the mall to get it fixed. And I saw a female about 20, 30 feet in front of me, and she was wearing one of Mica's dresses, and she had the same tattoo Mica has on her arm and the exact same hair. And out of just instinct, I screamed, Mica! And the girl turned around, and it was one of her sisters. And I thought I raised her from the dead. She's alive, I can't wait to see her again one day. There was a time where, for several months, I got into those Pitch Perfect movies, the ones where the girls sing a cappella, and I thought Mica loved it. So we watched them like almost every night. We were watching a different Pitch Perfect, and we rewatched them, and it shocked me. But after 15 times of watching the movies, one night she said, I don't like any of these movies. And she had never had a mango before and handed it to her, and she bit it. And here's what happened just a few minutes later after that. She swelled up on the mission trip. Let's see, what's the next picture? She was so creative. Everything she did was so creative. What's the next picture? What's the next picture? What's the next picture? Next picture. So one of the things she did for me is I'm a comic guy, right? She dressed up like Mystique, the last one. So the next picture, she would write poetry. And I thought, what kind of woman, writes poetry? She always had different ideas. She'd come home with a different idea every other day. I want to create a water bottle. I want to, make peace in the world. After that, she'd forget about it after 3 days. She came back from the Africa trip and she said, I want to start a school in Africa. It's not like you can talk to the Africans during the day because the time difference. There were over 300 children that came out of the woods, literally just started walking from miles away just to be part of the school. Imagine being married to that. It was like that in our house all the time.
The day after the memorial, police come out and they officially say Mica took her own life, officially. There's no foul play. And they explain everything I told you about earlier, like the footage of her buying the weapon, the call where she says she's going to do that. They're like, listen, we get it. There's a lot of people talking about this, but this is what the facts say. We don't deal in conspiracies. This is the facts. She did this to herself. The medical examiner clarifies, like, she was not shot in the back of the head, like people are speculating. And they talk about how JP wasn't even there. They have his vehicle, which people pointed out, it's tinted. You can't really see who's in there. Eyewitnesses say that he was there with someone, with that Susie allegedly, and that they were with people and he wasn't there when she did this to herself. Regina Ward, the attorney for the family and Mica's divorce attorney, she came out and she said she didn't feel like the sheriff's investigation was thorough. She said that the report did not identify witnesses who corroborated JP's whereabouts, and that there was no autopsy done, gunshot residue tests. They're still waiting for the toxicology. And she just doesn't feel like they investigated it thoroughly enough. This is another really interesting thing that came from the affidavit that was filed recently by JP's first wife, Allison. The reason why she even filed this is she was saying that ever since Mica's death and all of this transpiring, JP's been acting very weird, saying crazy things, telling the kids that he's going to sue everyone and become a millionaire, and that she wants him to undergo a psychiatric evaluation before having the kids be alone with him. She also said, okay, it was around this time JP's mental health seemed to be really spiraling out of control, and he began acting even more bizarre. He informed me that he was getting into buying guns and shooting and had purchased a gun safe for his home. As a convicted felon, he's not allowed to have weapons. However, he managed to get a police chief from the church to assist with expunging his record. Further, he was given a special police badge that says pastor to utilize if he ever gets pulled over, so they will let him go. People really were like, wait a minute. Because remember, I told you in the beginning, before he even started the church, he had that incident where that woman was on the hood of his car and he dragged her for like 100 yards. He became a convicted felon because of that. But according to Allison, his first wife, he got that removed from the police chief. So people are saying, oh, he's got a good relationship with the police. He's getting away with stuff. Could it be that they're sort of like helping him allegedly get away with it? And that's when people started also bringing up the person who was there when Mica was found, who told police, like, here's her ID and bag and stuff. Okay, they started going after this guy. They were like, he's somehow involved, everything's shady. So he had to come out and he was basically like, I know this is weird. He's like, I don't know why I grabbed this stuff. I grabbed it. I didn't look at it. He said, quit trying to be investigators. I did not do this. There's no way in the world I would harm anybody like that. Even my worst enemy. I would not do nothing like that. I was just here fishing. But then she also reveals that Mica and Mica's mom were actually reaching out to her for help from JP, which is so weird when you think about it, because if Mica literally was the other woman, like she betrayed the mom of the kids she was babysitting, slept with her husband, ended up marrying him and taking the position, and yet they're still having the kind of relationship where Mica is reaching out to her, being like, help.
Hey, it's Mica. This is my new number. Please don't give it to anybody, but I just wanted to see who your counselor was to help you walk through forgiveness and stuff, and keep your heart right through all the mess, because I don't want to lose myself in this, and I don't want to pursue anything out of anger or vengeance or anything like that. I just want to be free and have peace, keep my soul right. So if you just text me a name, even of a good counselor, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.
And then Mica's mom is doing it too, and she attaches Allison like exhibits, proof of this. So this is texts from Mica's mom to Allison being like, Allie, I'm begging you as one mother to another, please talk to me. I love you. I pray for you often. Please call me, please. I promise that no one will know we spoke. I'm concerned for the safety of my daughter. I'm asking, begging you not to let JP know I've reached out to you. He will just further isolate Mica from us. Please. Then there's like references to a flash drive that has a video of a minor child fighting against visitation with the father. So like the kids don't want to be with their dad. And then it says video of father admitting to suicidal ideations, use of lithium, mental health issues, as well as the voicemail, social media posts, like things that are extremely damning, it seems like. For now, the judge temporarily like suspended JP from having this unmonitored visitation with the kids until he does this evaluation. Mica's family, they struck a deal with the police and JP so that they could get her belongings after the police are done with them, including her phone and car, things that might have information regarding like what led up to the situation. and they're considering a civil suit against GP. They're also trying to get this law passed called Mica's Law, which is also known as the coercive control law. They've been trying to get it passed since like 2020, but now with the Mica thing, it applies, and they're trying to rename it and push it through. And I'll put up like the different things that would result of this law. So now that I have given you guys the facts, I want to talk about the theories.
Why did I say it like that? The theories. Also, this is the laptop mic, which is even worse than this camera mic because my really fancy mic went to shit in the middle of me doing this video, and then I uploaded it, and the shit was no audio on there, so I had to redo this whole video. Nobody cares. Bye.
As I was doing research for this, I saw that many times JP said he's going to sue people who try to talk about him possibly being responsible. His attorney came out and said that they're going to be going after people. So I'm going to do what I do when I talk about theories, and I don't want to get sued by anybody, which is this. Okay. You cannot sue me with this on because look, I know I'm crazy. Allegedly, I'm speculating. Okay. Don't sue me. Okay. So basically, there are three main theories. There's the official story, which took her own life and no one else was involved. Then there's the really sinister story theory, which is JP conspired maybe with other people to take her out, and it was a murder. And then there's the third theory, which I feel like is the most popular one, and that is that she did take her own life, but she was pushed to take her own life, and someone should be held responsible for that. So let's talk about it. So I usually always start with the official story. Basically, when you look at the facts that they've shown, it seems like that's what happened, right? You see her buying the weapon, you see her going by herself to all these locations. She searched the place where she was found, the 911 call. She straight up says she's going to kill herself. Oh, gosh, sorry. What even was that? In the 911 call, she says straight up she's going to do it, right? And so on the face of it, it's like she did it. You look at the cars with JP not being there. But then if you want to start poking holes in that, the way that people are doing it, well, they're like, first of all, I heard people say that the phone call could have been AI, that like it was a fake 911 call because the way she sounded. You know, her lawyer's saying she sounded drugged. People online are being like, it's so easy. They're like showing different apps and things. Like it's so easy to fake someone's voice with AI and make a fake 911 call. But if she's talking about the location and it pinging, okay, so then how would it be? Is the person they're saying involved, the guy who found her? If it's not JP, did he pay this dude to go there, play a recording of a call, shoot her, find the items, bring it to the, like, whoa, that's like really elaborate. Impossible? No, not impossible, but whoa, like crazy. Also, how do you explain her going and buying the gun? Was she like someone there, like forcing her to do all that? It's harder to believe. What is easier to believe is that she did all these things, but because her life had become torture. When you look at the string of things, you've got these police reports, and some people are saying, oh, well, the police reports are proof that she's crazy, but think about it, right? They were corroborated because the tracking device, right? He showed up. There's video of him showing up. So she didn't put that tracking device and then say someone's following her. He put it on there. He admitted to it. He showed up. Okay. Then he's calling her with the officer there. The officer picks up, is like, stop calling her. They then go to the courthouse and he's lurking there too, because that's where the tracking device went. The officer saw that. Okay. Then he's posting pictures of her. Like, it's bad enough to have your stuff posted, a nude that you sent your husband posted out of revenge. But in the context of the church they're in and all that, that's probably even way, way worse. It's bad for everyone, but I mean, like, the stigma of it is probably so much worse in a Christian church community than it would be in a more like liberal, not Christian, you know what I mean, community. So she's dealing with that following this. Then on top of that, it's like he's accusing her of stealing the money. Even after all this stuff that happens in March and the police and stuff and the April nudes, again, she finds another tracker on the 15th. That's the final straw for her when the officer tells her that you can't do anything about it because you guys are married. That's when she files for divorce. Okay, she files for divorce. Then he gets served. I'm sure she was alerted that he was served. Maybe she panicked. Maybe she said, oh shit, now that I've actually gone through with it, like now it's on. Like he's gonna go after her even more now. Maybe she was afraid, like, I'm not up for this battle. Maybe she was taking something. I don't know what the toxicology is. How does that affect? You saw that video of him on the lithium. She didn't seem like crazy like that. She seemed calm. Maybe she was just resigned. Maybe she wasn't on anything and she just was tired and over it and knew that this battle that she was up against was too much for her. And so in that situation, is someone else at fault? The person who's causing all these things in her life, are they responsible, or is that not his fault and just her fault? She definitely tried to get help from police, from this, trying here or there. No, we'll take the report, but nothing we can do. We'll take the report, nothing we can do. She probably felt like she really wasn't going to get anywhere with the powers that be. Especially when you hear about he has a badge that says pastor and stuff like that. She probably was like, in this community, I'm screwed. They're going to side with him. And maybe she just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Which is so sad, dude. It's really messed up. Anyway, I would love to know what you guys think. If you ask me what I think, I'm leaning towards the third theory. I think that she did take her own life, but I definitely feel like she was driven to it and would not have done so had it not been for certain people in her life, allegedly. My conspiracy don't sue me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Upside for supporting my channel, sponsoring the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.